myself and my journey. You know, just like all finance professionals, I've been through the whole journey. Joined as an accounts payable executive almost at PepsiCo, and spent some 8 years there. Rapidly changing roles. Done, I don't know what all did I do, including setting up a greenfield plant and running supply chain and doing whatnot. My last role before I actually became a CFO was that of a business development head for a whole for the India subcontinent. It was a very different job. I had actually been out of finance in that role. When I stepped into the role and took this interesting opportunity in the company that I work for, and she has spoken a little about it, and you can read about it in the document that you have. The company that I was going to work for didn't exist in India when I joined. And we had to, I was like, okay, you're the third employee. There are 8 employees, but guess what? The rest of the 6 are people working in admin. So we started doing all of that, and we built the whole thing up. And I was figuring what are the things that a CFO needs to do. Interestingly, there is a lot that we've already done in people who in finance know. You've been a planner, you've been a controller, you've been an accountant, you've been a tax guy, you've been an audit guy, you've been you've done it all right, before. It came to me that I need to be the advisor to the CEO and be very close to him. At every time he'll turn to me and say, "What do you think?" And I had my views, of course, with all these experiences and all that I understood of the business. And I had the whole discipline of being a finance guy. We are trained to be to operate in a certain way. When you start off your career and all of those years that you spend, and you start being a very, very disciplined operator. So that is also a big plus for a CFO. You're the guy who can make it happen. You're the guy who will follow it up. You're the guy who knows what was supposed to be done, and you will chase it up, and you're a fantastic operator in that sense of the word. The third thing that I realized is that I needed to be a technologist. Now that's interesting. Now, the reason why I'm emphasizing on this aspect of this whole job is because I'm supposed to be talking to you all about this whole role that a CFO plays in that data analytics and the future of an organization, right? So, the organization that I actually was working for, and I'm going to I got 15 minutes, and I'll talk about my own experiences. The organization didn't exist, and I said I had to think through everything that needed to be done. I had all of my 15 years plus of experience to draw upon, but also, I started reading up, talking to people. Look, it's a new company. What do I do? It's a fairly complicated thing if you look at it if you're really going through what is there in available texts, there's so much. Now, typically, the data analytics, and that's what I'm talking on right now, is focused on what is called as descriptive. It is explaining what's happening at the point. Today, what's happening, right? You need to explain why. What is the reason? How? It can be predictive. We look at trends and say, what is it likely to be? I have had, these sales in these particular months and with these kind of products, and therefore, this is how it might look in this month. And it can be prescriptive, which is, this is what you need to do to make it happen, right? There can be some analytics which can actually bring about things that tell us what is it that needs to be done to make things happen. Now, the reason why I'm talking about all of these is, each time when you're looking at each of the data analytics solutions, they will serve one or more of these. And it all depends on where the organization that your organization is at. Now, for me, it was all of these, honestly. It was a new company. 4 years back, I joined this company called Burger King India. Burger King India has, Burger King has like 14,000 restaurants across the world. It's the second largest burger company in the world. It didn't exist in India. The other guys have been in India for 2 decades or more. It was a new entrant, and I just jumped from a very big job, and I was supposed to be doing stuff that could have been anybody's dream, and I just kind of jumped into this where, I had one cabin and a table and no one else who was working for me. Now, thinking through all of this and getting an opportunity to build up on each one of these data analytics systems, tools, processes, I landed on a couple of things that I thought are what will help me as the CFO of the company. Obviously, you want more automation. You make sure that less and less people, information is available readily and all of that. You want to improve forecasting and planning, as a CFO, you're supposed to be telling people where will the organization be in the next quarter, how will the results look like, how will the sales look like, how will the balance sheet look like, and so on. Now, as I progress from there, it was a challenge to upgrade to a real-time performance. The industry that I work for, this is as much consumer-led as it is manufacturing, as it is process-led. It's a brand, which means that, it's hugely marketing-led, consumer-led, and so on. It's got manufacturing, honestly, because every place that you are actually producing food to serve is built to a recipe and is built, at the point of time when the customer is wanting it to be. Thirdly, it is about service and your ability to measure service and efficiency thereon. Now, why I'm saying all this to finance people? Because the third aspect has got the labor quotient there. You got people who are serving, you are selling, and how and that's a cost, and there has to be a result. out of it. Lastly, obviously, like all finance professionals, you want to make sure that while you're focusing on strategy, you're focusing on growth, you're focusing on profitability, the carpet under your feet is stable, nothing goes wrong, the governance is strong, the controls are strong, and nothing goes wrong. When my touch to my whole experience with technology happened, when I actually saw what all can happen on the internet. Burger King India is a 3-year-old company, came in this country in the year 2014. The first store was launched in November of 2014. I joined early 2014. I had no company to run. Only the job was to think and conceptualize. When it launched and when it opened its first 2 stores in Select City in Delhi and a store in Mumbai, what we did? We put our burgers up on internet and said, look, book your Whopper. Whopper is our flagship burger. And I said, book your Whopper. And you can come to the store when we open and redeem it. Do you know what happened? 12,000 customers on a weekend, on a day. Are you familiar with a restaurant, right? Think of a restaurant, it's a 3,000 square feet little space. And you have, every day, you're selling something like a 6,000, 7,000 burgers a day. People queue up. And these 2 stores were like at the entrance of the mall, and they were like, people were queuing up from the entrance of the mall right up to the top 3rd floor. Now, while this is marketing, what I'm talking about is power of technology to reach to the consumer. There is a lot that's happening. There is a huge amount of data out there. There is a lot that one can leverage on. Many times when you look at all of this data that I have on the slide, and you will read, I'll give a pause for you to read all of this. It can be overwhelming. It's too much. There is so much happening. But there is power to that. There is a lot of power to that, and there is a lot of power to that for the CFO, by the way. Because, for my industry, top line and bottom line are equally important. And I think so is it for everyone. We've used the data that exists in outside world, the big data that is there. It can be structured, it can be unstructured. The unstructured data, is the one that is outside your organization. The structured data is the one that is within your organization. The structured data is the one which is coming from your enterprise systems. Unstructured data is there, which is coming from Facebook, Twitter, blah, blah, everywhere, right? And you funnel it, and you're reading it. Our advantage and my learning has been that we've used this from the day go. We've had the customer listening tools. We have the ability to understand what is it that is happening. Now, an example of, many examples of that, but one example of that is your ability to be able to go back and create news, create customer delight, to be able to respond to situations where the customer hasn't expected the kind of surface that you're able to do. You know, we use a cloud listening tool where we are able to look at, what are the keywords. Whenever a Burger King is mentioned, what else is mentioned, right? It's fairly simple, right? So if you look at all the data that is being spoken on the internet world, you look at the statistics and you look at the correspondence, right? And then when you look at that, you are able to establish